At 4:30, so let's call this December 1st, 2020 meeting to order. First order, we're going to call roll. Commissioner Glover. Here. Commissioner Stubblefield.
Here.
Commissioner Bowens. Here. Commissioner Wade.
Here.
And I am here as well, so that's 5. We got a quorum. The minutes are before us from our November 10th, 2020 meeting. Are there any additions or subtractions to them?
I'll move approval as presented.
I've got a motion to approve as presented by Commissioner Glover. Do I have a second?
Sure.
Second by Commissioner Bowens. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let it be known that the minutes carry. All right, let's jump right into number 1, and I'm going to turn that over to Jody, General Capital Project Fund 171.
Okay, if y'all will turn to those two actual budget. When the auditors were here this year, they're requiring us from now on to put general capital budgets. Going to want me to put it in the bound budget document. They originally told me only Fund 172, that's your Red River Preserve, but when I talked to her and we were finalizing the audit a few weeks ago, she said they all 3 had to be put in there. So these are basically budget amendments where when you got to the end of June 30, 2020, there was $908,000 left. You'll see that on the general capital projects, you've got your money in there for animal control. There was funds left over in there for solid waste traffic flow, and then the renovation on the Tennessee Department of Safety building. So that's just a budget housekeeping I'm being required to pass. The other one is the school's capital project education. And at the end of the fiscal year, there was $2,571,733 that were unencumbered. So I'm having to go ahead and show that as a budget in the fiscal year that we're in. And I'm sorry, they're just housekeeping things that the auditors are requiring us to start doing.
Any questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve then.
So move.
Got a motion to approve by Commissioner Glover. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second by Commissioner Stubblefield. We ready to vote? Commissioner Bowens? Commissioner Wade? Commissioner Stubblefield?
Aye.
Commissioner Glover?
Aye.
The chair votes aye, so the ayes have it. All right.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Who's muting me? I've got myself unmuted on my end, but every time I start to say something, I have to look down, it's muted. Does it do that automatically?
Historically, if it's not muted, we've been muting it because we hear sound. We're hearing sounds. But if you don't want me to mute you and you're going to be quiet as a mouse, I won't mute you.
Why, y'all? All I'm sitting here is listening to y'all.
Okay.
You're good.
Eating unit kicking on though.
There you go. Well, we can't hear that, so you're good. All right. Next on our agenda is Trey Fan, a county engineer, to address the committee concerning the Roberts County Sanitation and Solid Waste Facility. I'm going to give you a little backdrop to that. Commissioner Glover, myself, the mayor, and Trey went out to solid waste facility with a structural engineer, and there's been more than one issue that's arose out of this. So, and Trey's going to fill you in on that.
Okay, I'll try to give you a brief synopsis of a report I went through the Solid Waste Committee a week or so ago. In June of this year, we contracted with K&S Engineering from Clarksville, Tennessee, that's a structural engineering firm, to come and do a structural inspection and generate a report on our existing solid waste facility. They completed their study and issued a report to me in September of this year. I reviewed it in detail, shared it with some others, met with the engineer on site, discussed it in detail, visually looked at what all his findings were. Then I requested that he put together a cost estimate and a proposed phasing plan based on urgency or need. And I received that, 3 or so weeks ago in November. To try to summarize what he found and be brief and give you an idea of what we found out there, what he found. 5 major points, all equally important. All of them involve structural building codes, structural stability of the building, and health and safety of the building occupants. First and foremost, he's found a lot of deteriorating and damaged structural elements or members, columns, beams, girts, concrete wraps around columns, slabs, rust, displacement from being hit, damages from being hit, concrete, inadequate connections, whether they be welds or bolts, all resulting in these members, these elements at risk of literally failing, meaning partial or full collapse of a wall or the roof. Number two, the west end of what was the enclosed building is breached, and a significant amount of surface area of that wall is now open to the environment. That has put the building from a fully enclosed classification into a partially enclosed classification, which causes a significant issue because we have 2.5 to 3 times the pressure, which is basically wind, that can come in through that wall that has nowhere to go, nowhere to be dissipated. So if you got a big enough gust of wind, straight line wind, that wind's going to find a way to exit. It's probably going to blow out a wall or the roof, and you couple that with the deteriorating and damaged structural elements, and it's not good. Number three, moisture penetration. We have rain that is getting in through the roof with holes and openings, walls, openings in the siding, gutters that discharge halfway down the building or the base of the building at a footing or column. Also have condensation issues. When that fire and all hit out there, a lot of the insulation is no longer there, vapor barrier. So we really need to seal the building back up again, get insulation in it and vapor barrier, control the moisture. Number four, when that facility was built as a fuel pellet energy facility, whatever it was back in the late 80s, they had trenches that ran full width of the building. There's 5 or 6 of them. I'm not sure exactly what their function was. They're roughly 4 feet wide and 3.5, 4 foot tall. We're not sure that they were ever designed to have heavy equipment run on them, such as loaders. Parts of those have collapsed. It's a danger not only to equipment, but to pedestrians, and we need to use a concrete slurry type material, flowable fill to try to fill those, get that structurally sound. And then number 5, if we're going to close that building back in, use it as a maintenance area, it's got to have adequate ventilation in it to meet code. We also need some adequate heating and light. It's really dim in there right now. We need a way to heat the area so they can maintain equipment in the winter, even if it's just a hanging heater, propane, natural gas, waste oil, whatever. There's one other area too where birds primarily and other rodents are getting into an area above the existing office, and we're going to try to get that sealed up. In closing, the structural engineer's recommendations, and I agree with him completely, is if at all possible, Robertson County please move forward as expeditiously as is feasible or possible to remedy these serious structural health and safety issues. That you please consider funding phases 1 and 2, which are outlined in your packet, and do them together as one project. And please note, those costs shown in your packet by the engineer are hard costs, labor, materials, equipment to do the work, and not soft costs, which would be architect and engineering design, bid solicitation, plan specs, any testing inspection on the back end that would have to be done to see that the project's constructed like we need it to be. Then phase 3, which is completely office renovation, doesn't have the structural issues that we have on the phase 1 and 2. That could be considered in the future if you wanted to do that at a later date. Please keep in mind too that even if you approve this tonight, which I hope you will, we're likely looking at 6 months, which would be late May, early June before any work would even start. And then the engineer estimates the project will likely take 8 months or so to finish. So you're looking at 14 months from where we sit now to get the project finished and get it where it needs to be. So it would be the end of 2021, likely early 2022. I know that's a brief, quick summary. I'll be glad to try to answer any questions or address any concerns that you may have. Oh, one other thing, the total that's in there, the $895, $933.75 being requested, we do feel that would do hard cost, soft cost, and leave a little bit for contingencies or inflation that might come up. The details of how that money was assembled or will be assembled, I'll leave to Ms. Jody.
Bottom line is, we've got about $495,000 available for this project. We do not have the full amount of money for this project. So we're either going to have to dip into fund balance, or we're going to have to use COVID money, which I strongly disagree with. We don't know what's coming down the road for that. Or we have to scale this project back. So. And it seems like since I've been put on the budget committee, we have spent a fortune at solid waste. And it seems to me it's never ending. Yeah, it's a bit worrisome to a point that is it ever going to stop? I know right now that we probably need to spend $500,000 on loaders out there. We've got three loaders out there that are junk. They've got in their budget about $58,000 for repair and maintenance. And I think they will hit triple that this year. They're going to hit about $150,000 on maintenance out there. So we've got more issues than just this. Now, this is very important because this is safety of the general public and the people that work out there. So. Yes, sir.
Hey, what is the sole purpose of this? Where they achieve?
This project is strictly getting this safe. It's gonna fix some issues that's not right with some openings here and there, but we've got beams that are just floating. Is that correct? I mean, I was out there that day and they're
Absolutely correct.
They're not touching anything.
But they just get the facility back safe, where it can be occupied safely and sealed up again.
Are we gonna make it like a shop for them there to store stuff and stuff?
They will have a shop that will be enclosed with ventilation for hot weather and heat, cold weather, and some lighting to be able to maintain their equipment. Right now, they're doing it outside under a shed. I understand.
They are.
I mean, is there a certain part of it that we need to get done that would get us operable with the money that we have
Well, I asked.
and safe?
I asked in solid waste, and I'll ask it again. But Trey Fan is our county engineer, and I asked him what his recommendation was. And I think, are you bringing your recommendation tonight?
Yes, as a hired a structural engineer, but that is a part of civil engineer. I'm also a civil engineer. Structural is not my forte, but I will not go on record of recommending anything less than what he recommends because it's that urgent. Y'all can do what you need to do. I understand that and respect that, but I can't recommend anything less than what he's recommended because it's a very serious situation.
Commissioner Hoover, yes, is there anything in this facility that will be condemned if the state officials were to come out and view what's going on? Because there's some bad walls, and I know what's out there, and it doesn't look safe for a lot of departments to be out there. Can they come in now and say, hey, you need to shut this thing down now?
I'll have to turn that over to our county engineer.
Right.
I can't answer that.
Well, TDEC is the ones that mandated we did the concrete push wall. I don't know that TDEC would on your existing building. There might be some state agency that would look at general building stability or lack thereof. But right now, it's not been condemned.
Okay.
I personally think OSHA could have a heyday.
That could.
I do too.
I echo that.
First thing
Is it
about,
some-
Dennis asked a question. First thing about it, we have to think about safety.
Safety, absolutely
That's
right.
number one thing.
Absolutely right.
If we get in a world of trouble,
Yes, sir. If somebody gets hurt out there, we're in a lawsuit.
we
Commissioner Wade?
Yes, a few months back, I remember sitting in a meeting with this committee, the solid waste committee, where they were talking about looking at options on fees and costs, and even possibly looking at third parties taking over our waste management. Where do we stand on all that? Because that could be a solution to this if we don't have to sit here and spend money on it all the time.
I've heard.
Let me go one step further and say, because it's a safety issue, I will vote to spend the money because we're a long ways away from being able to sell it or get rid of it.
Right. I don't know if anything's been done or not, Commissioner Wade. It would be a pure guess on my part, but I'm going to say it's not been looked into.
Okay. Well, I got another question later about EMS.
Going independent, someone else taking over our solid waste
Oh,
facility.
well, okay.
We have discussed the third party loading.
Yeah, yes, they have discussed the third party loading. Don't know where that stands at this point. I think I've been,
That means we don't get rid of it. What I'm looking at, trying to get rid of the whole operation.
right.
Why should we be providing services if we can't provide it safely?
Yeah.
It's obvious that a county government trying to manage these types of things is being managed by committees, and that doesn't work when you're operating something like an enterprise fund, that's what this is. It has to be operated like a business. There needs to be money put aside every year for capital expenditures, because it's going to happen, especially with as much wear and tear as happens at that kind of facility.
Well, they were doing that, but unfortunately they borrowed money and they're paying $200,000 a year back to the county in order for this pit project. So, but I duly noted what you say, and I don't disagree with you that should be definitely self-funded out there. They're not far from it, but.
You said pit project, it's a wall project. Isn't it?
Well, it started as a pit project.
Yeah.
The whole thing started as a pit project, but we ended up going different
Yeah.
direction with that.
Traffic flow.
And scales, the scale house. Commissioner Wade?
I'm going to make a motion. We commit to funding the first two phases of this, and then we get started on moving forward. And the funding and the financing of it, we might have to borrow some money or sell an asset. Hopefully, we're getting close to selling one down the street.
Man, it's not looking good.
Well, I was hoping it was better than that.
Well, I guess there's a motion on the table.
I do have a question on that. So do you notice like number 2, it not only has where he explained the project, connected to number 2 currently is budget amendment number 26 and 27. On budget amendment 26, there is $226,889 in a revenue code that was part of the local governor's support grant that was not allocated for anything. And this budget amendment also would show you were taking $400,000 out of fund balance. As you can see, that only totals $226,889. But if you look in this, your agenda, you'll notice that there's $269,044.75 that was currently still left in the traffic flow project. So that's what Keith was talking about when he said we approximately 400 and something, almost 500 on hand. Then number 27 would be where you put the money, the additional money they need into the General Capital Project Fund 171. So will you end up approving it and then approving the 2 budget amendments, or how do you all want to proceed?
I don't know, Dennis, but I would, I wish you would consider amending your motion to include, I have mentioned it multiple times about credit card fees out there at solid waste, and they will not entertain it. I'm
in the motion that they are required to start collecting credit card fees. That they have to implement a charge for credit card use.
I know it's very small, but I thought it was going to come in at double. We're probably looking at triple of the fees from what was budgeted.
They ought to be looking for every dollar they can scrape together.
Well,
I agree, put it in there. I'm in my motion to include that.
thank you, Dennis.
And then his motion is these 2 budget amendments, approve the project as Trey presented, and these 2 budget amendments, and it's contingent upon the solid waste committee charging credit card fees to the consumer.
Yes.
It's a
Why is
transaction.
it contingent?
Is that what you're saying, or to make it 2 separate
I'm
motions?
saying that we do it. We tell them that it's going to be done. Because they've had plenty of time to do it.
That's fine with me. I don't disagree with you. I've mentioned it multiple times, and to their defense, they say they built it into the fees, but the day that facility went into the red out there and was losing money, they no longer had it built into the fees. I have mentioned it. They didn't act on it, so thank you for acting on it tonight, Dennis.
And when budget time comes up, we'll look to adjust their fees if they don't do something to make sure that we're at market with everybody around us. Now, I haven't seen that report yet. Maybe they have, and they just not shared it with the budget committee.
This is
What,
a directive.
you talking about fees from other places?
Yeah, I think they're tipping fees. I think the tipping fees are probably where they need to be at right now. I don't know. I haven't researched it. But I do know that our revenue's looking better.
I hadn't seen anything.
Yeah, I haven't either. But I do know our revenue's looking better out there.
I think it's been talking.
Their revenue and their expenditures are on track, as of the end of October, Dennis. Whatever we've got budgeted, I believe their revenues are about 1% above budget, and what we have expensed for the expenditures, they're about 1% below what's in the budget. So they're right on.
Jody, just let me point out something. This is an enterprise operation. They've got to not just be breaking even, they got to be making money.
Right, I'm just telling you what the budget is.
Well, the budget is a break-even budget normally on these, on anything in county government. What I'm saying is this entity and EMS have to make money. They have to bring money to the table. They can't be sitting there out there breaking even. They've got capital expenditures that nearly break us. So, saying why has the budget been adjusted enough to make where either they cut their expenses or raise their revenues? They got to make money. That's just my feeling about it, y'all.
I don't disagree with you, Dennis.
Well, I'm going to be pushing awful hard the next.
Hey, Keith,
Yeah, Mayor.
let me just say I don't disagree with Dennis, but when you got convenience centers out there, it's costing 6 cents of property tax to keep them running. It's hard to show that we're going to make money because we're taking free trash in out there. But as far as turning it over to Enterprise, me and the attorney's been talking with Jeff Purse, and he's not willing to release us from that contract.
Yeah, but that contract comes up for renewal in July.
Yeah, that's July next year, Burton. He's not
Well, I
willing
know
to release
that's about 6 months from now.
Yeah, but he's not going to release us today, but we can put it back out to bid.
Yes. Well,
What you got, Dennis?
I'm going to just say something. I understand Billy's comment that these convenience centers are costing us money. Well, the way I look at the whole function of solid waste, it's an umbrella. It covers these pickup sites out in the county. That should be in the budget, and it should be factored into what's being paid. And no, it shouldn't. If this entity and EMS should not have to be coming to the bottom line to the property tax rate in the first place. So we need to get our act together and figure this out.
we don't even like a good ship.
Yeah.
I don't know who's going to do it.
You had a guy in a few months back that gave you some ideas. I heard them. So we need to figure this out.
So who's gonna lead that charge, Dennis? I mean,
I'll be happy to put me on the committee. I'll be happy to lead it on EMS and solid waste. I'm just tired of it.
I think Don has got EMS. He hadn't got us a report, but I know he's been doing some work to it. Solid waste. Now, I don't think there's been nothing done as far as looking at going private on it.
Okay. December was the month he was to bring us a proposal. So I'm waiting to see the EMS proposal. I didn't get to go to his meetings, but I'm hoping to see it.
Well, they should have a meeting this month, I would imagine.
We had the
It's gonna be
meeting,
an hour.
the proposal, and
That's
they're
what we asked.
back with specific things that they're going to request next month to happen. And one of them is that we're going to start charging for some of these runs that they go on that are non-transports.
Could you hear that, Dennis?
I heard part of it, yes.
Okay. There's going to be more specifics at this December meeting.
Yes, December, they're going to come back with their recommendations from what we should do.
They're coming back with recommendations this month.
Okay. Will they come to us before they go to the whole commission or what?
Well, this is our December meeting, so I'm not certain. I'll do my best to attend the EMS meeting, whether it be remotely or otherwise, but
I want to hear it because I've got a lot of time invested in this issue.
I know you do.
My whole request and my motion to y'all was that they come to our December meeting with a plan.
Okay. Well, we can always call a meeting before the county commission meeting if we want to hear it 6 o'clock before the county commission meeting.
That sounds good to me.
All right, that's what we'll do then.
Or is that just solid waste or both solid waste and
No, that's going to
just EMS?
That's going to be EMS. The solid waste is not going to have time to get into it. But I do have a motion on the floor. It's an amended motion. Do I need to vote on the amendment?
Let's go over the motion again.
Do you want to explain your motion, Dennis?
My motion is, and my reasoning for it is because of the safety issues. That we move forward with the plan that has been presented tonight on phase 1 and 2. And we go ahead and look for the funding to make that so that can happen. And the second part of that, my amendment that I proposed was that we carry to the county commission motion that credit card fees will be charged on all future usage of credit cards at that solid waste location. I don't know where the extra money's coming from. I don't know.
Well, Dennis, we've got two choices here. We can use COVID relief money, which I don't think we need to because this does not have anything to do with COVID, or we can come out of general fund balance. We have built our general fund balance to a very healthy $11 million. I'm not excited, and I don't want to use fund balance, but that's our only option.
And where I'm at is I'm willing to use it as well to get past, because I don't want somebody getting hurt.
I agree.
Loss.
I agree.
And I'm not going to take that responsibility.
A lawsuit will cost a lot more than $400,000.
One of the things we're talking about today is the fact that so much work has been kicked down the road over the last 20 years.
And I would just tell you something. Every time I've ever been on this county commission, we found the same thing happening in schools all over the county. We spent millions of dollars just trying to keep them from falling down. Yeah. And I walked on floors in elementary schools where the weight of my body was pushing down. And we had kids sitting on the floor in those areas trying to do classrooms. We do this all the time. It's time to stop. Thankful we got an engineer that can tell us what we need to be doing. That's what we ought to be all thankful for.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Absolutely.
That's my motion.
What you got, Mayor?
Hey, I appreciate Burton saying we've been kicking this down the road for 20 years. But with Dennis's motion, I wish y'all would figure out where the money's going to come from. You know, have an idea where it's going to come from before you vote on this.
Well, Mayor, I think we know where about 400 and some odd thousand is coming from, and we're going to have to pull $400,000 out of fund balance. I mean, I think that is the only funding mechanism we have for this.
Well, that's fine, just as long as everybody understands where the money's coming from.
Well, is that not going to be part of Jenny's?
I think it's got to be.
That's budget amendment number 26. If you look there, it shows it coming out of fund balance.
And yes, it's a part of my motion. Whatever we got to do, we do it. Fund balance or whatever.
So we're voting on 26 and 27 as written.
The only thing I think about all of this, and I think this is what we're going to have to do. And I'm going to vote for it. But the thing about the credit card fees, we can vote that in, but is the solid waste going to take that initiative to make sure that they set a fee, set a specific number? Because it's kind of ambiguous now. It's just like, okay, they're going to have to charge a fee.
I've tried more than once. I've tried.
It's like, are they going to charge a 50-cent fee? Or are they going to
I've tried. There's one member that's opposed, totally against it, and the committee will not act on it. So I have tried everything I can. That's why I brought it to this committee last month, brought it to y'all's attention, and then I brought it back to their attention again, and nothing got done. So that's why.
Can we set a price?
Yes.
And
let me.
Without forcing it on.
All right, the county commission approved, you've got to you've got to get the approval of the county commission to waive a credit card fee.
We just got to rescind that resolution.
And we did that last year, or we might have done it in 18, I don't remember. And what Keith is talking about is what we need to rescind that resolution in conjunction with what we're doing.
With the solid waste.
That way, that we're, then credit card fees have to be collected. They're collected when you pay something in general sessions or circuit and, other departments. I'm sure, like the trustee, if you came in and paid your taxes with a credit card, they would collect a fee.
Well,
I don't think it's.
we're going to rescind the motion. And then one more time, we're going to send it to solid waste and let them try to figure out what they want to charge. But I'll promise you, if they don't, we'll figure out what we're going to charge in our January meeting.
Okay, that's the only thing. I don't want to leave it
You're
up.
changing my motion, right?
Well, we can't. We have to rescind, on the county commission floor, we have to rescind that resolution that the county commission passed a year, 18 months, 2 years ago to not charge credit card fees.
And I asked the question, why can't we just add that to this motion, that we take to the county commission to rescind that previous whatever you're talking about? And that the budget committee is bringing to the county commission that we immediately start charging a 3% or whatever it needs to be, whatever the charge is.
Per transaction.
It's a set
It's
transaction.
a transaction fee, Dennis. I think it's $2.75, I believe.
So
On each transaction.
I've seen on some other counties where they charge a percentage on it, all kinds of different ways. I don't care, just long as you get the money.
card. That card that you carry, what's in your wallet, is about 5%.
The
Visa and MasterCard is 3.5.
our clerk is charging 2.75%.
They're talking about a convenience fee.
Yeah.
I know, but it's done by credit card. That's what we're talking about. A credit
No,
card
no,
fee.
we're going to add. We're going to, instead of us paying the fees like we've been doing, we're going to make the consumer pay it.
I know,
Like,
but you have to set that out to the side. It has to be notified to the county and all
Right.
before you set that charge. If
Right.
you start rescinding this credit card fee, you're gonna mess up the other departments in this
No, sir.
operation.
No, sir. No, sir.
We go,
This
the same
this
thing
motion-
they're doing now.
Yep. Everybody's doing it except solid waste. We had to write this motion. Clyde had to write this resolution to exempt
So
solid
it's already
waste.
been written and
Oh,
we passed it.
we passed it a long time ago.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Yeah.
then we need to rescind that portion of it,
Exactly.
not the
Exactly.
totality of it.
Exactly, yeah.
Don't go back and wipe out the totality of the credit card fees and reinvent it.
Well, we're just gonna rescind what we approved
That's fine.
18
Yeah,
months
but
ago.
But you need to check to see exactly how much is charged to each credit card transaction. It's different. I get hit every day with it.
We're just going to have to come up with. We can't. It's going to be hard to say. Well, that's a Mastercard. We're going to charge 2.75. Here's an American Express. We're going to charge 5. We're just going to find a fee that we can live
Your
with.
credit card company can give you that figure on what you averaged this past year.
Well, and see, I think that's where Don Eden on solid waste was arguing. We've got to make it as fast as we can to get them on and off the scale, and that's why they were opposed going to a fee. Now, if we go to a sliding scale fee to where it's different for each card, then I'm going to have to side with Don Eden. I don't want to put that on some girl working in the scale house where we're sliding this. There's a MasterCard, it's 5%. This is 2.5%. We got to do 4%. I get what you're saying, and they do charge different fees, but we've got to make it as easy as we can on those ladies in
Well,
there.
I've talked to Donna Cersei,
Why wouldn't you just do it?
and she indicates it's very, it's just, that takes seconds.
There's one department that's charging a straight fee, like
He's
$2.75.
charging a fee.
Yes, that's a straight
That's
fee.
what I do.
Yeah.
I do the same thing.
Okay, and I think that's what they need to
It's
do.
still sliding it up. and
Yes,
up,
sir.
But you're gonna pay the difference with the difference.
Right.
And you cannot discriminate and say, American Express, we want to charge you this, and then
Right.
it's all gotta be done at the same. If you
Gotcha.
do one, you gotta do them all.
Gotcha.
But I check with your credit card company last year, get the average to see what's happened, and did set a fee accordingly. And let be in a position that will float a little bit.
What you got, Dennis? What you got, Dennis?
Well, a year ago, I looked into this. Businesses cannot charge a fee to somebody using a credit card. What I was told. The state of Tennessee exempted government entity. And It's being done in other departments. It ain't rocket science. Just take one you like and let's do it. If it's 2.75% or $2.75 per transaction, I don't really care as long as we get something on the books and start trying to figure out what we need to be
All right,
doing.
so we've gone in many different directions. I do not have a second on his motion. I'm going to say we let this motion die, let him present another one that we can get it clear, what we're going for, and go from there.
Can we separate them?
We need to have it in writing at our next meeting.
Let's separate.
All right, so I'm going to declare that motion died. Dennis, now let's get a good, clear, precise motion, what we're going at, so Jody can get a good notes on it, and then we know what we're voting on.
Well, I'm going to say something, Keith. Since
Yes.
it's my motion, I thought it was pretty straight and clear. It's all the commotion inside that committee talking and throwing rocks at everything. It's very simple. We pass the two resolutions that are following this proposal.
Okay?
And if we pass those and we agree to fund the first two phases, which is what has been presented to us tonight,
Correct?
that should be clear. I don't know of any other way to say it. The only thing is unclear is the credit card fee. And the way I look at that is, if you don't want to make the decision tonight, you want to pass it back to them, that's fine with me. But they got to get a credit card charge going on at the solid waste. It's consistent with everybody else in county government.
Well, we're going to have to rescind the
Mr. Chairman.
The resolution.
Approval from your.
That's fine. Do what you got to do there.
Accepted his motion. You got no second, but you need to make that official.
Well, I think I just said it. I think just right before Dennis started talking, I said that it died due to no second.
Did you ask for a second? I didn't hear.
Yes,
him ask for a
yes.
second.
Yes, he did.
I did.
Discussion.
Okay.
He did. No one seconded it. So it died. I agree.
Original resolution, is that correct?
He's going back to his original resolution, number 26, number 27.
It doesn't have anything to do about the credit cards.
Nothing to do with credit cards.
All right, I'll second it.
So I've got a motion, I've got a second. Credit card fees have been pulled out.
Was it to accept what Trey has recommended that we do?
Any more questions, comments?
Question.
Question's been called for. Let's vote. Commissioner Glover?
Aye.
Commissioner Stubblefield?
Aye.
Commissioner Wade?
Aye.
Commissioner Bowens? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it. I'll entertain a motion to rescind that resolution if someone wants to make it. Motion to rescind the credit card for solid waste, that resolution that was drawn up by Klein. So I've got a motion to rescind that, and I've got a second by Commissioner Stubblefield. Any more questions or discussions on this?
Question.
Question's been called for. Let's vote. Commissioner Bowens? Oh, hang on. What you got, Mayor?
Well, I just want to know, can you get a motion, how you going to pay for it? We're going to, take it out of fund balance or whatever, because it goes to the floor. They'll be arguing about property tax or whatever.
Yeah, well, actually, number 26 and 27 spells that out. It's $500,000 coming out of fund balance. I mean, 400,000. I'm sorry. 400,000. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hey, that'll work for me.
Thank you, Mayor.
We're straight where it's coming.
Yep, we got it. So now we're voting. Commissioner Bowens?
Yeah.
Commissioner Stubblefield?
Aye.
Commissioner Glover?
aye.
Commissioner Wade?
Aye.
The chair votes aye, so the ayes have it.
Do we need to make a motion to send it, to have them start charging, or is that an automatic thing now they have to?
I think that's an automatic thing. Once this gets rescinded on the commission floor, I think they don't have a choice.
Okay.
And I hope they'll talk about it in their next meeting, so we can approve something if we need to during our January meeting.
Well, I mean, Bill's here. You see any reason it can't be brought it
I'll
up?
be more than happy to bring it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Trey.
Thank you.
Thanks, Trey.
Can I ask you
We got
something?
motion.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Can you bring us up to date on the deal with Combs on that, bringing up sewer line through what?
I have invited Mr. Combs to next Monday's Building and Grounds meeting. I've tried to get in touch with him. I invited him a few weeks ago. I'm gonna try to confirm with him whether or not he's coming. Try to confirm that this week. He is on the agenda. It's my understanding that he possibly is already looking at an alternate route for his sewer and not coming across the county.
Okay.
But we have invited him next Monday and hope he will come. If he chooses not to come, I would probably interpret that as he is acting on this alternate route.
All right. Well, that's you getting that information from the engineering company?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
He's dealing with the same engineering company,
Right.
Clover Engineering,
Yeah,
that
I
did the
know
report
that.
for us.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, Trey.
Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda, I'm going to turn this over to Jody to inform our committee members about last month's meeting. Coronavirus relief funds.
Okay, basically, there are 6 departments that have already had to spend funds on coronavirus, and as I expressed at last month's meeting, the county already has received in our county coffers $1,065,160. And these numbers are estimated based on what has been spent in October for your IT, building and grounds, finance, county clerk, sheriff, and ambulance. 3 of these is where, 3 of them where I took the number what they spent and I multiplied it out by 3. And the sheriff is in the middle of, I shouldn't say he's in the middle of it, but finance is going to approve it next week for their surveillance system. They may be having an additional item on that for $25,000, so that's why his is $91,000. And basically, this will take $178,531 from the $1,065,000, still leaving $800,000 and change of coronavirus relief funds that we received. And we're still waiting to find out about some additional $900,000 we requested, but we probably won't know anything about that until February or March, if we'll receive any of that.
Very good.
So it's a balanced budget amendment.
Any questions, comments?
Motion to approve.
I got a motion to approve by Commissioner Wade. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second by Commissioner Bowens. Any questions or comments? Ready to vote? Commissioner Wade?
Aye.
Commissioner Glover?
Aye.
Commissioner Bowens? Commissioner Stubblefield?
Aye.
The chair votes aye, so the ayes have it. That passes. And last on our agenda is Chet Biggers, our IT director. Got Chet.
Wanted to talk to y'all about a website I did. Since I've been working here, I've been asked countless times about when I was going to get together another website. And after I got these CRF funds, I decided that maybe I could use these funds for a new website. This revised quote is one of 3 quotes that I've got from website vendors, and all 3 of them are government specific. This is the lowest quote. You can see at the bottom, the grand total for the first year is $13,700. That's for building the site, designing the site, talking with me and department heads about the design of the site. We're trying to make it more citizen-centric to where people can actually learn something from the site. They can go to the site to gather the info they need. I'm sure you've all been on our current website. It's so old and antiquated. You really can't find any information, hence the reason why people spend a lot of times on phones answering people's questions about things that they need to do. It seems like citizens, they know what they know what they want to do, but they don't know how to do it or which department to go to. A lot of them. There's a lot of features in today's websites that are pretty unique to the government sector. There's ADA issues that we're having with our current site. The inability to change the font sizes, to change the contrast, to hover over something for blind people to hear what's being said or it being read out. There's just a lot of advancements that have taken place in the last 5 or 6 years that we just don't have. I've got a committee together of department heads, and they're going to help me design the website for the county, and we're going to be including EMS. They don't even have a website now. So they will be able to have their website integrated into this website. We'll be able to do payment options for certain departments. The question is, though, I think if you look at the bottom of that sheet that I give you, there's a 5-year agreement. You don't have to sign this, but they will do a free web design after the 5th year if we sign the 5-year agreement. And as you know, 3 to 4 to 5 years is a short time when it comes to technology. And if you don't do that, then you've got to pay another company that doesn't offer this type of service another fee for redesigning the website. Because if you just let it go, it just becomes stagnant. It becomes to where people just don't use it. I mean, the visitors to our site are really, really low compared to other sites around here. And this came in considerably lower compared to the other two. I had one of them was at $20,000 to build, and then $5,700 a year. The other one was $16,500 to build, and another $5,500 a year. And each year, as time went by, it kept getting higher. It kept increasing. This one stays $3,700 a year, and just $13,700 upfront costs to get it going. And I'm using the CRF funds that were given to me.
And where this company redesigns for free, those other two companies did not. Is that correct?
Right.
And that was a major cost 5 years down the road.
That's right. It's another $20,000, $16,000.
Well, I sat in on a video conference call on this, and it was really neat to see the direction that Chet's taken this. What you got, Dennis?
A few weeks ago, I had the opportunity to be on several counties' websites trying to track down some information. Williamson County, Rutherford County are both good county websites. I would love to know from these people what can that we expect on the back end of it, some kind of an idea. You've got to go into these departments, you see the fee structure, you see what the forms that you're required to fill out and everything some of those counties. They do a great job. I just hope it's what we're going for and not cutting our nose off to spite our face, trying to save a few bucks.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They're offering everything that everyone else does. The other vendors were just a little bit overkill for what I think we need. But we're going to have forms for anything. I'm thinking of an idea for the highway department. A person, because you have geo tracking on these sites, and a person can go and take a picture of a pothole and just send it directly to Delvin in the group over there. Things like that. There's an how do I function on this site to where how do I pay my property taxes? You click that and it takes you right there to where you need to go.
Well, if they're doing 2,000 other government entities, they ought to be able to show us and give us a few references. And I assume you're looking into those, aren't you?
We actually had several we looked at from this company, and I'm sure Chet will be more than happy to share them with you. But one that stuck out to me was at Tifton County.
Yeah.
It was their website was amazing that this company did.
That's good. I'd love to see some of it.
Very impressed with it.
I was really impressed with some of it.
I'll send you some links to them. And the one thing about this particular site is no cost for EMS. What we can do, we can build websites within these web pages and not have to pay additional fees. Like, say, for instance, Kendra, right now she just has a page. She don't actually have a website. She has a page. She can go in and change pictures, change dynamic features in her page to make it look more like a website. And it's pretty cool, but you know, it's a good 24-week project, maybe longer, because there's a lot of talk with the department heads and what they need and what they would like. And we're trying our best to keep it citizen centric to where the people go, the citizens go to the website and get exactly what they need. And we can't do nothing with what we have now.
I agree. I saw that the first day I was looking at some of these other websites. I was amazed at how much they could get, and we don't have it.
That's
So
exactly.
I'm glad to see y'all doing this.
This is a balanced budget amendment. You got funds, he has funds in his
Yeah,
budget for
funds
this.
the coronavirus, that 58,000, actually it wasn't coronavirus, it was the local
From
government.
local government.
support.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry.
So do we need a motion on this?
On this one, because it's obligating the county
That's right.
for over, each year, Clyde would have to get a resolution for the county commission to approve, for the county mayor to sign it, and we're gonna have to make sure that there's wording in there that says if for any reason you all didn't appropriate the funds and pass the budget, it would be the county's out. It's just something that's required because we're government, and if they're working strictly with governments, I don't foresee that being any kind of a
Well, I was
problem.
gonna say that they're dealing with all governments, so
Yeah.
they should run into
Not
this.
any problem at all.
Yeah.
So,
So we're gonna need a motion to enter into the five-year agreement then and let,
get the contract to the county commission to approve, yes.
I've got a motion by Commissioner Stubblefield to approve. And I got a second by Commissioner Glover. Any more questions or comments? Are we ready to vote? Commissioner Stubblefield?
Aye.
Commissioner Wade?
Uh,
Mr. Bowles? Commissioner Glover?
Aye.
The chair votes aye, so the ayes have it. Take that to the commission and for their approval.
Awesome.
That's all I have on my agenda. Do we have any new business to discuss?
But did you all want to do a meet before the county commission meeting on December 21st, or is that something you're going to do later on?
No, we'll need to go ahead and call that meeting to order because I would assume y'all were gonna, should have all that in for.
Well, the EMS meeting, our next EMS meeting is the week after the county commissioners meeting.
Okay.
So we won't meet again unless you need for us to. I mean,
No,
Don is on here and he's the chairman.
no, I mean, there's no need, we don't need to call a meeting before y'all's meeting.
But you-
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Commissioner Eden.
I'm a little taken aback about Commissioner Wade being so vocal. You know, we've worked for almost 6 months. I personally have talked to probably a couple dozen other departments, and we had our full presentation. Very good and complete presentation. I think that the committee came out with drew some conclusions. I know I personally did. Found out in a nutshell is that charge more and overtime to make a pretty.
Commissioner Eden, you're kind of cutting in and out. We're catching just a little bit of what you're saying. Dennis, are you able to hear them all the way?
Okay, let me try again.
I'm barely hearing.
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Well, I'm sorry, you were breaking up. Don, where I'm at is 6 months ago or more, we requested it to be presented to us in December. I'm a small business guy and I'm held accountable for that. I'm just trying to hold us all accountable for the commitments we make. I would like to have seen something at this meeting, and that's fine. If you're a month off, I can live with it. Let's just move on and get it done.
So we'll expect to hear something in our January meeting.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Commissioner Eden.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Commissioner Eden.
Well, I didn't hear your voice say
Yeah, we're not hearing anything you saying. It's coming in and out.
Can you hear me?
I heard that. That was the first. All right, looks like we lost Commissioner Eden.
I move for the adjourn.
Got a motion to adjourn? Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hey, can I speak before y'all quit?
Yes, sir.
All right, hey, in Commissioner Eden's defense, he called me this week, and EMS has been talking about some things about saving money on
I can't hear it.
overtime. Who can't hear me?
Dennis can't hear you.
Okay, Dennis. Hey, and
Just call me
Commissioner
tomorrow.
Eden, all right, but hey, let me tell you, they working on overtime at the EMS and all that, and I'm glad y'all voted on this website deal. Susan Ashley did that a long time ago. We're in the 18th century, and hey, keep had a hard time carrying this meeting, man. I appreciate what you're doing. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah. Hey, let me give you a heads up. I think the state's been start paying for masks and other, gloves and stuff. They're gonna put it on the county, Keith. So I want Jody and them be kind of looking at everybody's budget where we can get a little extra money to help pay for that stuff.
Yeah, we've got some money sitting there. That's why I didn't want to touch it tonight.
Yeah. Hey, thank y'all for what you do. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Mayor.
Thanks, Mayor.